Number 6. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Much like Home Alone.
I'm fine for you, baby. I'm fine for you, baby.
Okay, your novelty's wearing off, Tree. You're hanging on by a thread. Much like Home Alone, Christmas Vacation knew how to combine the annoyances but also the charm of staying home for Christmas. What I really like about this movie is that it focuses on a lot of details. Sure, it has all the pratfalls and slapstick like many physical comedies, but it also has all the little moments that you don't think about but always recognize, like the grandparents asleep on the chairs, or someone just mindlessly watching a Christmas show, and especially the family conversations.
All right, I will do that. You know, they took a pint of fluid out of my lower back.
You see this small?
My goddamn hemorrhoids. You're not getting the garage space. You did to my automobile.
The film got all the bits that most people find annoying, but also surprisingly endearing at Christmas time. That, and I'm always shocked that even though Chevy Chase plays such a filthy, dirty he still seems to be likable in his naivety. All he wants is the perfect vacation, which of course never happens. But by the end, he realizes all the memories that's left behind, and how he'll enjoy them forever. Funny, detailed, and capturing every Christmas moment, Christmas Vacation knew how to expose this holiday for the enjoyable curse that it is. And that's the...
I've always been a singer, but I'm out of jump. I'm branching out. Get it? Huh?
Alright, Tree, you talk one more time, I'm gonna put a bullet in your head and call it macaroni.
Hope you get some truth.
Number 5. It's a Wonderful Life. I'll be honest, when I saw this movie, I was saying to myself, come on, Christmas classic, nourish the spirit within me, see what you got. Oh, yeah, you got a special effect that looks like someone spilled coffee on it? This movie's gonna blow. But, as I let the film play on, I too succumbed to the movie's goodwill and innocent characters. And by the time I was halfway through, I was totally hooked. The story about how one man's life can affect so many people truly is inspiring as well as heartwarming. Though I did always find it a little sexist when Jimmy Stewart finds out what happens to his wife if he wasn't born.
Tell me where my wife is.
I'm not supposed to tell.
Please, Clarence, tell me where she is.
You're not gonna like it, George.
Where is she?
She's an old maid. She never married.
You mean she never got married? That's like the only important thing to a woman, isn't it?
Where is she? Where is she?
She's just about to close up the library.
And she's learning at the library? What kind of horrible world is this? For its faults, the movie really knows how to give us what it promises, making us realize what a good and wonderful life we truly do have, especially around Christmas time. Jimmy Stewart, as usual, is chillingly good, and director Frank Capra really knows how to pour the cheerful schmaltz on so thick that it's impossible not to enjoy it. It's a Wonderful Life still proves to be a wonderful movie.
That's right. Attaboy, Clarence.
Number 4. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It's funny how a lot of these Christmas specials seem to focus on the negative. Take the Grinch for example. He is literally stealing Christmas! And the whole special is just showing in great detail how he's doing it. And yet the Grinch is still very likable at what a curmudgeon he is. With his grinchy Grinch frown and the voice of the Frankenstein monster himself, Boris Karloff. Brrr, Christmas bad! How can you not be drawn to this holiday stick in the mud? Of course, all the negativity pays off when we discover that he can't steal Christmas. No one can. Christmas is something much deeper than he could ever imagine, as he realizes in the end. Which is ironic because the name of the story is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, not Does the Grinch Steal Christmas. I thought this was an instructional video. There should be a time machine and a roadmap to Bethlehem in this movie. And don't even get me started on that pig Ron Howard movie. If I wanted to scare my kids with a green monster filled with hot air, I'd let them listen to one of Al Gore's speeches on global warming. Still, the Grinch was colorful, creative, and dripping in holiday cheer. Just enough to make anyone's frown turn upside down.
Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more.
Number 3. A Charlie Brown Christmas. I can't exactly say why this special works, it just kind of does. I think a lot of it has to deal with the fact that there's absolutely no budget for this. The animation is simple, the actors are kind of wooden, and the story is very basic. But I think that's why it's so good. There's simply no in it. What you see is what you get. And you knew that even if these people had little money, they still did their best to give us a straightforward Christmas special. And the effort shows. It had great music, it had a wonderful theme, and there's something about the bluntness of the children that's actually very refreshing.
I know nobody likes me. Why do we have to have a holiday season to emphasize it?
It's not like any other Christmas special. It seems to exist in its own strange world. And that, for some reason, is kind of irresistible.
Of all the Charlie Browns in the world, you're the Charlie Browniest.
It's not laugh out loud funny, but I don't think it's supposed to be. It's almost like watching a Christmas pageant that you knew everyone tried their hardest to create. It's not spectacular, but you feel the effort, the commitment, and above all, the sincerity. Nothing seems manipulative at all. It's just straightforward and to the point. And somehow, it just works.
Everything I do turns into a disaster. I guess I really don't know what Christmas is all about.
Charlie Brown. You can't really explain it, but you can certainly feel it.
Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown! Hark the herald angels sing. Ding dong, ding dong.
Number 2. A Christmas Carol. Which one? Any of them. There are literally dozens of versions to choose from, each one carrying the stamp of the original Charles Dickens classic. Even the ones that are lousy still seem to have some element of good in them, simply because they're using a story that is timeless, thoughtful, and unforgettable. The Tale of Scrooge is one that we all know too well, not just because of the story, but because we've all met a person like Scrooge, someone who just couldn't get in the heart of the holidays. It's not until the ghostly apparitions arrive that Scrooge changes his tone and sees the value in what Christmas can and does bring out in all mankind. All the different versions offer many creative variations. The ghosts are always similar, but still vary in design and tone. And even Scrooge himself has gone through a ton of actors.
Humbug. Humbug.
Humbug.
Humbug.
Humbug.
Humbug.
Everybody's taken their shot at this story, even the Muppets. But as long as they have just a scrap of the original story, then will always be something worth watching about it. I think my favorite Scrooge is either Alastair Sim or George C. Scott, who both found the subtlety in the character. Watch how Scott looks at his father in the past. You can just see him analyzing the man. And look at the pure disgust on Sim's face. These are both great performances, never going too far over the top. Of all things, I actually like the Disney version a lot too, mostly because they managed to squeeze the entire story in just a half hour, and yet still managed to get an emotional response. That's hard to do. Live action, animated, or even using puppets, A Christmas Carol is perfect anytime, for any generation.
Merry Christmas to everybody, and a Happy New Year to the world!
Ding dong, ding dong.
And the #1 greatest Christmas special is, say it with me now, A Christmas Story. I know, I'm sorry to be so predictable, but this movie just seems to have it all. Heart, innocence, and above all, a lot of humor. It manages to be both broad and detailed at the same time. This film does so well capturing our childhood that we often watch it saying, dude, how did they know I did that? I thought only I hid in the cupboard when I was afraid. Hug me, kindred spirit! This film got everything about being a self-centered yet also innocent child. The excitement, the emotions, the build-up, even the daydreaming. I think most kids fantasize something like this when they were punished by their parents.
What did we do? Soap poisoning.
I think we all embedded into our brains never to try this.
Duck, 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 duck.
Even though it took place in the 1950s, everyone seemed to have this childhood and everyone seems to remember it the same. Now, many people might think this film doesn't accurately represent Christmas. It just represents childhood and how materialistic we used to be. But here's the thing. Christmas is also about memories. And the story isn't told from the point of view of the kid. It's told from the memory of the kid as an adult, which is a huge difference. Christmas is about remembering the good times, comparing how we were then to how we are now, and how we hope to be in the future. That's the reason for the 3 ghosts in A Christmas Carol. This movie works the same. It captures everything we remember about Christmas to a T, and allows us to compare it to who we are now and who we will be in the future. On top of that, for me, there's one scene that just sums up Christmas altogether.
Oh, honey, come over here. Look at this.
Oh, is that beautiful? Oh.
And that just about does it. For me, that's Christmas. Sitting by the tree, just watching the snow with your loved one. Most people miss it, but for me, that's my favorite scene. This movie is like a dream and a memory, remembering that childhood innocence and struggling to keep it alive even as you grow old. And as long as movies like A Christmas Story are around, I don't think we'll ever lose track. A Christmas Story, the best Christmas special ever. And those are my top 12 greatest Christmas specials of all time. Happy holidays, goodwill toward men, and rest in peace, obnoxious singing trees. Instead, let's listen to some rockin' Christmas puppies. I'm a nostalgia critic. I remember